Okay, first of all, describe what you think an SAP policy is.
It is a policy. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And try not to move too much in the chair, because it's, even though I know it's like nervous, you can do things with your hands if you want. But
the SAP policy is a policy that provides you guidelines for you to know what it's the minimum GPA, the completion rate, and what the standards are for you to receive financial aid at a school.
And where did you find out this information?
I found out during my senior year of high school. I found out this information during my senior year of high school when I visited Access.
And when do you first remember hearing about the SAP policy at your college?
I never heard about the SAP policy in my college. I heard about it when I was filling out my financial aid application.
Okay. So why do you think, this is just again some more background questions about the SAP policy. Why do you think the SAP policy exists at colleges and universities?
I think that the SAP policy exists at universities and colleges so that students can know what the requirements are and what the guidelines are that they have to follow in order to receive the benefits that they do.
Awesome. That was great. Okay, so describe in your words, and you don't need to tell your story yet because we'll get to those. Describe in your words the consequences of not making, I'm going to wait till this siren's gone. Describe the consequences of not making satisfactory academic progress.
The consequences of not reaching the requirements that SAP expects of students is they can take away your financial aid, they can reduce your financial aid, and they can also limit the amount of classes that you can take in a semester.
We're going to be able to just upload this video right away, right? Okay, so the next question was, have you or any of your friends ever been put on academic probation or suspension? So why don't you, let's just answer.
We don't need any, if she's going to tell about her experience, there's no reason we need to know about her friends.
Right. So let's just start, so why don't we just talk about your experience, like the story you just told me, again. And
without the summer class thing, right?
Do you think we need the summer class thing? I don't think that we do. What I would do is start with the very first thing you said about how I found out about this, but I didn't pay any attention to it. And that's okay. I'm not, like, no fault, because you were like every other student. That's why we're making this whole website, okay? Because the more you tell, the more you absorb it, right? Okay. So start with that piece, and then I would move into kind of when you hit your trouble spots, okay?
Okay. So when I graduated from high school, I heard about the SAP policies in colleges and universities, but I didn't really pay attention to it because I always do well academically, so I thought that I would never reach the minimum requirement. So I didn't know what the minimum requirement was for my university, for my college. So I started struggling in school, and I withdrew from a couple of courses, and I failed 1 or 2 courses, and my completion rate started decreasing, and I didn't know that could affect me because I didn't pay any attention to it until I went to the financial aid office one day and they told me.
Let me stop you for 1 second. Let's go back to when you took that break and start again. Like can you say instead of my completion, say my completion rate, which is how many courses I had completed, because someone like a freshman might not know what completion rate means. So start back with my completion rate, which is blah blah blah, and then keep going.
All right, hold on. What did I say after that?
I think you were saying you found out that your completion rate wasn't. What was it that you hadn't?
I don't know the exact wording.
You were just saying my completion rate wasn't what it was supposed to be to continue to receive financial aid or something like that. Like you hadn't taken.
Okay, so you want me to say my completion rate, which is the
amount of courses you need to complete to continue.
Successful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to complete successfully.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that's a very interesting point. It's not just the magic GPA number. They also have to have. They can't just withdraw whenever they're doing poorly in a class, right? So let's talk about that first, and then we can get back into the story of how you found out.
Okay, hold on. Let me try to remember exactly what I was saying.
And yeah, and I mean, again, this doesn't have to be like scripted perfectly, so. I think you were, I think, start back by telling us about the, this was your third semester.
Alright, so when I started my third semester in college, I started doing poorly. I failed 1 or 2 classes, and I withdrew from a few classes. And my GPA was affected, but my completion rate was also affected, which is the amount of courses that you complete successfully. And I didn't know this until I went one day to the financial aid office to ask a couple of questions, and the person who was there told me that I wasn't going to qualify for full financial aid for the following school year because I hadn't completed successfully some of the courses that I had originally registered for.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's, do we want to move into advice? Do you think that's enough? Or do we want to?
I would do a couple of advice ones. She's got a good voice and everything. And
I know. I wanted to say that she's asking you a question.
Good story to tell anyway,
So let's actually get into a little bit of like some of your feelings around this, because I think that's what can resonate with some of your peers. So describe a little bit about how you felt when you found that out and some of the worries that you had associated with that.
Can I say how they gave me a dead end, and then I went to high school in here and I got different options?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you, I think you want to just make, maybe we don't want to use the word dead end, because I want students that are going to school in like New York City to feel like they, even if Access or High Square isn't there, they still have the option. So, you know, I wasn't quite sure what to do with the information from the financial aid office, or they didn't give me as much help as I needed, so I turned to a few other resources. You don't just need to say High Square Task Force or Access. You can just say I turned to some other resources, and this is what I did. This is how we resolved the problem or something.
Okay.
So, awesome. So yeah, describe a little bit about your feelings and kind of, and you know, how you handled the situation when you were told this information.
Alright, so when I left the financial aid office at my school, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what my options were. I thought I was going to have to drop out of school for the following semester. But then I contacted my coach in one of the programs that I had been involved in, and he told me that I had many options. So I pulled up a name of people who work in the school, of faculty, and I started making phone calls. And I made a couple of phone calls. I wrote an appeal letter. I reached out to a lot of people, and I didn't get the same response from everyone. Some people told me that there was no option, that I knew what the SAP was in the school, and that there was no way that I can get out of this. But then after I spoke to a lot of people, I got the answers that I needed, and my situation was resolved.
That is a beautiful, beautiful piece of information.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to like bottle you up and take you with me to every single, like I seriously want to play this video for everybody that we do these summer workshops for, because this is such a common story. You're doing awesome. Thank you. I'm just very excited by this, clearly. Okay, so let's talk about, I think that's a good summary of your story and enough information. Like I would love to go into the summer details and things like that with like certain audiences, but I think for the purpose of this, they need to know the basic information. Okay. It's not going to affect me, don't need to worry about it. And then, oh, actually it might affect me because it's not just my GPA, it's also how many courses I've taken. And oh, if something goes wrong, these are my options. And you've hit all 3 of those points, which is great. So now if you can answer the question, what words of advice would you have for students what words of advice about the SAP policy would... Excuse me. What words of advice about the SAP policy would you have for students who are starting their freshman year of college?
Some advice that I have for students who are starting college as freshmen would be to pay attention to the entire policy, whether you think it applies to you or not, because later you might forget all about it and it'll come back to creep on you. Keep in touch with your financial aid office. Always make sure what your status is with your financial aid application, because universities have a lot of students and they can't keep track of everyone, so you have to advocate for yourself.
And if students want to know where they can find out information about the SAP policy, where should they go?
I don't know, where should they go?
Okay, they can go to their school's financial aid office or their school's, or Google. Can we use Google?
Website. I
Or
wouldn't
go-
use Google.
Okay, because I always Google like Bunker Hill and
Right.
SAP policy, or search on their school's website for SAP policy. So visit their financial aid office and ask, or go on the school's website and search for the SAP policy.
Okay.
So I'll ask the question again, so you can answer the question. Where can students go to find out information about the SAP policy?
A place